It is time for my player awards predictions. This is actually one of my favorite segments that I do because at the end of the season, I always have something called the mics. And I know the first, at least last year, I really did want to give out some player trophies, was not able to get to that. But I think we're going to do that this year. I think I'll be able to do that when May or June rolls around. I will give out some Daily Dive trophies. And if the players want them, I'll direct message them and say, hey, even if the league gives them one, I feel like I find it as the only live daily lacrosse talk show on the planet. I feel like it is my duty to at least try to give the awards, because I do envision 20 years from now, people actually value these things, even if it's not just me voting for it. Like, we've got some team members here at Daily Dive. And by team members, I don't mean like our regular guests like Frick every Monday, Joel Watson every Tuesday, Packer Guardo. There's so many great guys, but they would not be involved in the voting. It would be like me, Leroy, Hunter, and Captain, and whoever joins the show in the future. But that's like, I feel confident we can do that. You're like, Michael, what are you talking about? I don't care. I know you don't care. That's just where my mind is at. Okay, let's do it. I'm giving my award predictions right now in the flesh. Let's start with Coach of the Year. You ready? Obviously, Coach of the Year, you have to consider not only where I have these teams finishing last year, this year, my predictions, also what were they like last year. For my Coach of the Year, this team was supposed to be good again last year. They were not. A lot of that was due to injuries, but this team got smoking hot towards the end of the year, including their young rookie sensation stepping up in clutch moments. I do believe with a 12-6 record, that will be good enough for Glenn Clark to get my Coach of the Year. So again, Glenn Clark is my head coach of the year in the National Lacrosse League. Now, other candidates I was kind of considering was John Tavares, because of losing Fraser and Cloutier, and Ed Cuomo of the Swarm. Because even though Brad Dobson might be awesome this year, losing the players they have, if the Swarm can make the playoffs, Cuomo should be considered. Also, the head coach of the Nighthawks, Mike Hazen, could be considered. But I think Dan Carey might get more of the credit for the roster that he's building. So I believe Glenn Clark is my Coach of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I fell victim to this, watching the preseason and seeing a guy who is on a great defense, which actually does help. Like, I considered Owen Grant, well, he's also on a great defense. I consider Callum Jones. I think if Ottawa's going to be great this year, Callum Jones will be a major part of it. I consider Mike Messenger. Latrell Harris with Toronto Rock. Latrell Harris looked absolutely on a mission. He looked like a hitman or an assassin out there. He was taking bodies in the preseason, making plays, jumping, passing lanes, running transition. This guy was a menace. And again, you add the fact that Nick Rose helps him, because he's like you have to have a good goalie as a defender of the year. This is how this award works. If your team has one of the worst defenses, then you don't get considered, unfortunately, most of the time. But I do believe that the great defense around him, like with Brad Kreese still there, Dr. DeSnoo possibly in the waiting, I think Latrell Harris will be the one that stands out. Latrell Harris wins. In front of the show, Latrell Harris wins Defensive Player of the Year. My Rookie of the Year, CJ Kurse would be awesome, and I heavily considered him. I thought about the Georgia Swarm guys that could step up. And I know somebody else, like somebody else out there they like. I think, Will McLeod of the Thunderbirds. I think Owen Hiltz, because of his box experience, he's going to look like the better player than CJ Kurse this year. I think 10 years from now, I think CJ Kurse will be better than him. But I think this year, Owen Hiltz is going to score a lot. I think Owen Hiltz will score a lot. I think he'll be efficient. I do see, like, Mark Matthews, what I saw in preseason cannot be denied. When Mark Matthews set the screen for Cursor Hills, and we all know Cursor has to learn more, Owen Hills is ready. And Owen Hills, to me, will win Rookie of the Year. My goalie of the year. Last year, this guy, like, as good as Aiden Walsh was, when Christian Del Bianco came onto the Vancouver Warriors, it was night and day. He made Aiden Walsh look pedestrian, even though Aiden Walsh was not pedestrian. But that's how much the jump was from a solid goaltender in Aiden Walsh to a megastar like Christian Del Bianco. That's how big the gap was. You add the fact the roster is disgusting. He got his partner in Getaway Crimes, Shane Simpson, back, referring to, like, when they run away from the cops in transition. It would be a shock to me if Del Bianco does not win goaltender of the year. As good as Chiliana can be, as good as Dobson might help the swarm, Dylan Ward, Matt Vince, none of those guys will have a team in front of them, and none of those guys will have the assist numbers of Del Bianco. When you combine the fact with his goaltending with the transition assists, it's Del Bianco, and that by far is the easiest prediction to make this season. You can make your finals pick. You can make who makes the playoffs this year, even though they didn't make it last year. MVP, coach, GM, you're not touching how almost set in stone it is that Del Bianco is going to win goalie of the year. Again, I will be shocked if Del Bianco does not win this award. And it will be a really big letdown if he does not, because it means Vancouver is not good. Guys, Doug Jamieson is going to be great. It will not matter. Again, the jump from Aiden Walsh to Del Bianco was massive. And then the jump with Shane Simpson and the roster they have now, it will not be an argument. If there is a debate, I'm going to be furious. It's got to be Del Bianco. And finally, my most valuable player. MVP, you got to have a high usage. MVP, you got to have a couple of teammates around you to help make sure you're not a high volume, high turnover guy. You have to make the playoffs. I don't think this team makes the playoffs. But I think the season that Jeff Teat will have could push them to the 8 or 7 seed. And I think the season Jeff Teat has will be so much better. Like the other guys I considered, Joe Rezzaterets. Well, unfortunately for him, the Wings will suck. You talk about Mitch Jones. Guys, if Jack Hanna stays, if Fraser and Kluche step up, and the Desert Dogs still have goalie issues, I don't see a scenario where Mitch Jones wins the MVP. Because as good as he will be, he won't be as good as Jeff Teat. He will not be as good as Dane Smith. He will not be as good as Connor Fields. Guys, Mitch Jones is a great player. He's not better than those guys. You add the fact that Jeff Teat now has Rob Hellier, who's a competent sidekick. That's a big deal. You add the fact that Black Bears could be competitive. That's also, guys, I told you guys, I'm going to check my predictions again. I believe, like, for the Black Bears, I have them finishing 7-11. I have the Dogs finishing 8-10. Like, the Dogs can win 10 games. Mitch Jones is not being vaulted to MVP if Jeff Teat is having a great season. Guys, Jeff Teat last year had 56 goals and had a down year. I think Jeff Teat breaks 50 again. I think his assists climb back up. And as he's shown year over year, his turnovers go down. I think his amount of points, amount of touches and points percentage will go up. I think Jeff Teat is going to have his best season yet. And again, they still might miss the playoffs. But I'll make a prediction. If the Black Bears make the playoffs, Jeff Teat's your MVP. Now, if they don't, it's going to be hard even for me to pick him. But again, the season is going to be so good for him. If they sneak in, he's your MVP. Because no one else on the team is going to step up. Like Rob Hellier can have 80 points. It's not going to matter because Jeff T will have 130. Like, that's what we're talking about right now. He's going to have more points by far than the next guy on the team easily. He's going to have a better year because he's got some help now. And if a team makes the playoffs, write it down now. So again, Glenn Clark, Latrell Harris, Owen Hiltz, Del Bianco, Jeff Teat are my award.